No one has more state pride than New Mexicans. The vibrant culture, bold flavors, unique history, and dramatic landscapes under our Zia sun are like no other. And the people of New Mexico are a rare breed. As diverse as we are, together we breathe life and soul into this high desert land. A land that promises adventure. I'm Michael Newman, and as your host, I'll be taking you with me as I seek out the best the land of enchantment has to offer.
New Mexico, it feels like home to me. It feels so true. It's time well spent when I spend it with you.
Thanks for tuning in for another episode of New Mexico True Television. I'm your host, Michael Newman. In this episode, we find some leisurely ways to spend a Saturday. A bit of food washed down with craft beer and some time in the great outdoors can round out the weekend quite nicely. In other words, eat, drink, soak, repeat. So let's get to it. Just blocks from Santa Fe's historic plaza is an exciting new eatery, Raza Kitchen and Juice. Inspired by Ayurveda and rooted in classical culinary practices, the menu at Raza promotes conscious eating, making organic vegan food palatable to the mainstream. Here, the fare is as appealing to omnivorous foodies as it is to plant eaters among us, proving healthy eating can be as tantalizing as it is nourishing. You won't find an oven in the kitchen, but hydrators, crock pots, and an incredible assortment of ingredients all prepared by hand. As unique as the kitchen are the dishes executed here, each plate a work of art. As I feast my eyes on the spread in front of me, I grab a few words with one of the women behind these masterpieces.
First of all, this spread is impeccable and just amazing. What purpose or what need is this serving in Santa Fe and in the greater New Mexico environment?
Well, a couple of things. One is that we have a lot of customers and clients, guests, who want to eat healthy, want to change their diet, have been told maybe by their physician to change their diet, and they don't have any idea what to eat.
Right.
So having a place where they can come where the food is delicious and really healthy is very inspiring for them. So we have a really large range of people, not necessarily vegan, vegetarian, mostly. Mostly it's like foodies.
Just foodies.
It's people who love really great food.
Yeah.
The ladies here work so hard because everything is made from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a sauce on the plate, it's made from scratch. If there's a cracker, we've made it. If there's bread, we've made it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really different for a restaurant. We don't have a big truck coming up bringing cans and boxes of pre-made foods.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's from, our hearts and our hands.
You can definitely taste the inspiration and the hours that went into every bite. So whether you're looking to indulge in some of their raw chocolates or picking up an elixir or juice for your latest cleanse, you are guaranteed to feel good about it afterward. This is mindful eating at its finest, a place where food becomes an experience unto itself. Up next, cycling plus beer sampling equals a very good day. Do you take a lot of pictures on your New Mexico travels? Well, if you do, show us by hashtagging New Mexico True on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Right in Old Town Albuquerque, just south of I-40, you can find Roots Rentals and Tours, the outfit that will be introducing me to some of Albuquerque's finest brews. And by brews, I mean beer. When you think of the flavors of New Mexico, our red and green chili may be the first things that come to mind, but our microbrewed beer is making its way to the spotlight, especially in Albuquerque. Recently ranked as the #1 beer city in the nation, Albuquerque's breweries might be the city's new claim to fame. So with all these stellar options, where does one start? That's where Roots Bike and Brews Tour comes in. Giving you VIP access to a rotating group of breweries, this popular tasting and cycling tour ensures the perfect introduction to Albuquerque's microbrew scene. They lay out the tasting tour utilizing the city's bike paths, providing a SAG vehicle and concierge, so all you need to do is show up. Cruising through the neighborhoods of Albuquerque on a bicycle, sampling microbrews along the way, taking in the New Mexico sunshine, that sounds like a mini vacation to me. Sign me up. We convene at the Roots Rental Shop, review the rules of the road, and get a quick breakdown of what to anticipate on the tour.
He'll also use hand signals, so putting out his hand in the direction that he's turning. Also right and left, that's also acceptable.
Just be mindful of the cars, and if we run into any equestrians, which we can sometimes do here in Albuquerque, we're going to give them the right of way as well.
And we're off. First, cutting through the historic Chacon addition to Old Town, known for its Leon Watson adobes, we make our way through the bungalow neighborhoods of downtown to the Warehouse District, where our first brewery resides, Marble Brewery. Marble is known for its award-winning and strongly hopped beers. Their Double White, Imperial Red, and Pilsner are among them. Brews, Anna starts us off right, giving us a taste of some of their most popular brews. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Prost. Yeah. A tasting tour is absolutely the way to go when you're not familiar with a brewery. You're exposed to such a variety of beers in one sitting. It's like eating small plates versus an entree, where you get to taste test a bit of everything.
Yeah, that's so that has spruce and pine tips in it.
We're doing some damage there, I have to say.
All right, and then if you guys just want to meet me down there at that side of the bar, and I'll take you in the back.
After sampling some of her product, Anna takes us to the back to check out their operations.
This is called the mash tun. This is where, if you guys want to take a peek in there, there's some grain in there now from the Wildflower Brew. It's already been crushed. We've extracted all the sugar we needed from there, and all of that liquid is now in the kettle.
Only one stop into the tour, and we've already sampled a strong selection of beers. But there's more waiting for us. Onward. Our guide Bob leads us through the historic Hispanic neighborhood of Martineztown up to the Diversion Channel bike path. This path cuts across the entire city north to south, and because of the many people utilizing it, breweries have decided it's a good place to set up shop. Case in point, Canteen Brewhouse, formerly known as Il Vicino Brewery. Il Vicino began brewing its own beers for its wood oven pizza restaurants over 20 years ago, making it one of the older brewing companies in town. Like Marble, this taproom features award-winning beers as well as a great patio. No wonder the breweries of ABQ are some of the most popular spots in town. We sample some of the cleverly named brews like the Pigtail Pilsner, and then head to the back to learn about their process from assistant manager Tyler.
We also have right here what we call our hop back, which is a secondary tank. When we take it out of the boil, we'll bring it through here and we make a huge, like 5-foot-long tea bag full of fresh hops.
After seeing some of the fermentation, Tyler leads us back to the cold room. I'm all about going behind the scenes, but I have to say, these rooms live up to their name all too well, and I am cold. I'm ready to get back on the bike and start sweating again. And before I know it, I'm pedaling my heart out on the way to our final stop. Cutting through the University of New Mexico's campus, we pause to appreciate the campus's duck pond and the renowned Zimmerman Library designed by the celebrated architect John Gamin. And yes, this pause also allows us to catch our breath. Our guide Bob's good to us that way. At last, we have made our way to Nob Hill, the cosmopolitan heart of Albuquerque. And right in the middle of it all is the historic Jones Motor Company landmark building housing Kelly's Brew Pub. Since we are part of the tour, we bypass the patio and head to the brew room where they have a special table waiting for us, akin to the chef's table at a restaurant. Did I mention we're getting the VIP treatment? Kelly's also has a woman behind the scenes. For a male-dominated industry, the Lady Brewers of Albuquerque sure do represent. Unlike other brew houses that had a preset selection of samplers, here at Kelly's the choice is ours. And with nearly 20 beers to choose from, we have our work cut out for us. Thankfully, Shannon here certainly knows her product, and she has some great recommendations for us.
Our apricot is very, very popular. It's very popular in the summertime on the patio. It's just a really, really light, refreshing kind of crisp ale with like an apricot flavoring.
Light and refreshing? This is clearly going to be one of our picks. Not a bad way to spend a Saturday, not at all. Just so you know, the folks at Roots switch up the breweries so you can have a different experience every time, which just means you have to do it multiple times. They also have other tours showing off New Mexico flavors, so check out their chili tour or winery tour. And finally, I highly suggest you sample the brewery's seasonal beers or limited editions because they could literally be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Stay tuned as we head for the hills to soak in Mother Nature. Sign up to receive monthly newsletters about events and happenings around the state at newmexico.org. Mother Nature has smiled graciously on the Jemez Mountains, and nowhere is her bounty more evident than in the plethora of hot springs and watering holes you can find speckled throughout the valley and spilling down the canyon walls. Spence, McCauley, and San Antonio are all natural hot springs with developed and well-marked trails leading you to their geothermal waters. The easiest and most accessible of these being Spence Hot Springs, where I am headed now. Over the river and through the woods to soak my bones I go. And as you can see, with the surrounding scenery and magnificent vistas, a hike to any one of these springs makes the journey as invigorating as the destination. After a quick half-mile up the hillside, the soft dripping of the springs reveals itself, and the two staggered pools come into view. The temperature of the pools range close to 100 degrees, with the upper pool being the warmer of the two. I opt for the pool up top. Nothing like soaking in healing waters while taking in panoramic views of Jemez Canyon. I really do love my job. Less frequented than Spence is San Antonio Hot Springs, a quiet sanctuary reached by traversing a rocky Forest Service road for a long 5 miles. But I guarantee you the trek will be worth it. Because of their location, the cascading pools of San Antonio feel more secluded and tucked away, and are a haven for locals and travelers in the know who are willing to venture off the beaten path. Needless to say, there are different strokes for different folks, and the hot springs of these mountains have something for everyone. If you don't want to hoof it to a natural pool, but want the benefits of the natural waters, check out the Jemez Springs Bathhouse right in the middle of town. Their on-site springs provide water rich in mineral content for their 8 private oversized cement tubs where you can adjust the temperature to your liking. But their spa services don't stop there. Consider getting an herbal wrap or massage, and be sure and check out some of the locally made body products in their gift shop. Just downriver from Jemez Springs Bathhouse is Giggling Springs, an outdoor spa experience your body, mind, and soul is begging for, whether you know it yet or not. The proprietors have created an oasis here on the banks of the Jemez River, where you have the opportunity to soak in the midst of nature's grandeur while still enjoying the luxuries of a more developed spa experience. The history of people taking in the waters in this stunning locale can be seen in the weathered, time-worn building next door, which was the original bathhouse of the area, harkening back to the mid-1850s. So I am following in the footsteps of many pilgrims who have made the venture to this special retreat on the river.
Do you need a towel rental?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to walk you out and show you where everything is so you have a nice time.
All right. I heard a lot of good things about this place, so I'm excited to soak. Wow and wow again. This place takes your breath away, truly. I'm surprised at myself for never having been here before. I guess it's never too late to start though. And it also turns out I've picked the perfect time of day for soaking. It's officially magic hour. The sun is reflecting in the pools, the beams of light twinkling on the surface of the water. Pure magic. I've just started chatting with some people who came up from Albuquerque when Tanya brings us some cold beverages. Better than any cabana boy, Tanya is the ultimate hostess, preparing and delivering poolside smoothies, lattes, whatever your heart may desire. After hydrating and getting in a good soak, I make a move for the hammock and let the rush of the river lull me into slumber. I don't think I will ever leave. I hope they don't mind if I take up residence. Maybe I should ask them first.
Well, ladies, I have to tell you, the water is absolutely magnificent. I feel so calm and relaxed. Where does this water originate from?
It originates underneath the Valles Caldera, which is an inverted volcano about 18 miles north of us. Oh. It's pushed by pressure under the ground to right here. It's calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and iron. Wow. And there's a lot of silica in the water too. It makes your skin real soft.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask what are some of the benefits, like are the medicinal kind of healing, other than relaxation?
It seems to be really good for arthritis, any kind of detoxing, because it pulls, toxins out of your system and you get to soak up minerals at the same time. It's just good for everything, right. Mentally, physically.
After hiking and kayaking, or if you're going on the Fenton Lake, this is like the perfect place to just unwind, watch the sunset over the mountain. It's picturesque. So.
I mean it. This place is truly something special. Get here as soon as possible. Both the Jemez Springs Bathhouse and Giggling Springs recommend you make reservations ahead of time. Space is limited. If you decide to hit the natural springs, remember San Antonio does have a rough road to reach the trailhead. You may even consider taking a high clearance vehicle. The road is also occasionally closed, so be prepared to hike the additional 5 miles in. Coming up, a pastoral excursion awaits you in the heart of Albuquerque. Just north of I-40 off Rio Grande Boulevard in Los Ranchos de Albuquerque is one of our state's most exquisite agricultural locales. Nestled under the cottonwoods of Albuquerque along the Rio Grande, in the heart of the city's North Valley neighborhood is the historic Los Poblanos Ranch. While the property has changed hands over the years, its history as an experimental and progressive farm dates back to the 1930s. Many native New Mexicans have been raised on the milk supplied by Creamland Dairies, whose original home was here at Los Poblanos, and whose exemplary purebred herds of Guernsey and Holstein cows helped develop the dairy industry in New Mexico. Beyond dairy farming, alfalfa, oats, corn, and barley were also grown on the property, not to mention the farm's experiments in cultivation and countless other areas of agriculture, whose influence is immeasurable. Today, Los Poblanos honors its agricultural heritage and its mission to be a sustainable and innovative operation. And it is an operation. First off, It is in fact a working farm. Harvests from the farm, among them greens, herbs, chilies, and pork, are featured on the rotational seasonal menu at the La Merienda restaurant. You will also find byproducts of the farm's lavender and honey on the shelves of the farm shop, along with an array of other enticing items made by local artisans and craftspeople from around the state. Finally, there is the historic inn in La Quinta Cultural Center, whose architecture alone is reason enough to visit. And today, I have the chance to meet the man behind it all, Matt Remby.
So can you tell me a little bit about what you guys have going on throughout the farm and the shop? Give me a little synopsis.
Well, it's the original ranch of what used to be a 80,000 acre ranch that extended all the way to the base of the mountains. But it's the old historic Los Poblanos ranch. And guests get to this kind of visceral experience of seeing the farmers bring something in hours before it's served to them, as well as they see, lavender being harvested, and then they go back to their rooms and they shower and they're using all, So it is kind of a crazy experience, but it's a real one. Even though it is a beautiful place, there is real farming going on, and tractors and trucks and animals. That really resonates with people, the sort of authenticity of the whole thing.
And then how does that experience play into maybe some of the history of this land and this property specifically?
One is the architect is kind of New Mexico's most well-known 20th century architect, a guy named John Gamin. And John Gamin, he really is responsible for kind of identifying what makes New Mexican architecture unique. Some of the artists that he contracted in the 30s did farm-themed artwork. So that kind of lays the foundation for us telling all these stories. So that is totally unique to New Mexico. All the art and the craftsmanship and this architecture and then the setting. And then the other is kind of what makes food unique to this area. And so we've kind of coined a term called Rio Grande Valley cuisine. And it's really about what grows well in New Mexico and what grows well in the central Rio Grande Valley. It's not just what we grow, but we leverage and use all the food in our entire food shed, which most of it kind of stems from that Rio Grande River, which is kind of the heart of New Mexico.
Along with a rich food shed, we also have a growing community of farmers in New Mexico. And today, I, along with some other folks, am meeting Farmer Fergus to learn about the salad greens being grown on the property, and even take a whack, quite literally, at harvesting the greens ourselves. But I must say, while harvesting has its own rewards, the feasting is where guests can truly reap the benefits of this farm's bounty.
We're all about field to fork. There's all these things from, nose to tail and farm to face, but those just help people kind of distill and understand what we're trying to do. We don't have typical New Mexican food or Spanish food or even typical farm food. It's actually very much a metaphor what New Mexico is all about.
Yeah. The many layers and flavors of New Mexico are not only represented in the restaurant's menu, but in the wide variety of items in the farm shop. But the selection is not limited to culinary delights. In fact, much of what you will find on these shelves will aid your indulgence of another variety, i.e. the home spa experience. What is abundantly clear when perusing through the farm shop is how these items are a testament to the skills and talent of our local artisans, and how much they offer us in terms of craftsmanship. Any shop in the country would envy the selection of high-end products found on these shelves, and the aesthetic and attention to detail in the shop and every other part of this property is bar none.
As you roam the property, you get the elegance and the class, but you also get this groundedness of this history that's been in this property for so long.
And there is this spectrum here that's really great. And it's kind of this, it is a classic New Mexican elegance. At the same time, we're farming on this site. And there's some crusty old barns and animals, and the general soul of this place is kind of right in between. There are some things that just happen naturally here in New Mexico, and it's the sky, and it's the climate, and it's the terroir, all the ingredients coming out of this unique landscape. So we just want to step back and let New Mexico do its thing.
Totally. As a peacock walks by us during the interview.
Los Poblanos hosts regular Meet the Farmer classes, as well as their Tasty Tuesdays when you can sample goods in the farm shop. Drop on in. Once you arrive on site, you may not want to leave. Make a weekend of it and stay at the historic inn. Don't miss lavender season at Los Poblanos from mid-June through mid-July. Besides the annual Lavender Festival, they also host weekly Lavender Labs. And now, here's another New Mexico true treasure.
Hi, I'm Martin Ledger, and Bandelier National Monument is a New Mexico true treasure. Bandelier is amazing because not only it's not like a museum where everything is behind a glass wall, but you can actually go into the ruins, you can touch them, you can climb the ladders, and you can experience and look down on the valley and say, wow, that's what the people saw. That's what they saw when they got up in the morning. They hauled water up here, they hauled food up here, they hauled their families up there. It's just amazing to be able to touch and live that. I think the mystery of the Anasazis is not only true and one of the most intriguing mysteries for Bandelier, but for all the culture of New Mexico, from Chaco Canyon to the other historical sites. It's truly an amazing culture that was built up and thrived and then suddenly disappeared.
We're glad you joined us on our weekend adventures, where good food and drink, along with some time in the landscape, can give you plenty of distance from the work week. With that being said, what are you doing next weekend?